The following program is intended for mature audiences.
Russell throws inside. Oh my God, it's picked off at the goal line. It's picked off by Gus Butler with 20 seconds left. Oh my word.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And check out every episode of the show at basicallysports.tumblr.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg,
Mike.
And you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Allen, the tight end, left quick split to the left. Amendola and Hogan to the right. Allen in motion to the right. White the single back with Brady up under center. He takes the snap. He play fakes to White. He stands in the end zone. He looks down the middle. He fires, and the ball is caught in the back of the end zone by Danny Amendola. Touchdown! Patriots! It's a catch. He made the grab just inside the end line, and New England is taking the lead.
I love Tom Brady. I'm going to just come right out and say it. I've given myself over to the Patriots. I have. I don't know what else to do at this point.
Good.
I actually had a little conversation with myself last night, and I said, could it be, is Brady actually better than Montana? And I'm almost ready to go there. I think I'm this close to saying that, yes, Brady is, in fact, the greatest quarterback I've ever seen. When the Patriots were down 10, did any of us doubt they were going to win that game?
I mean,
no. Not even a doubt. It wasn't even so much as like they could do this, they might. They probably will. It was like, this is over. They were down 10 fucking points, and we were like going, this game is done. We knew it. It was certainty.
When Jacksonville went up 20-10, like at that exact moment, I thought, oh, maybe we do have something here. But as soon as we really got going in the third quarter, I'm like, you know what?
They're just not doing. They're not doing anything with the lead. They just came once they went up 20-10. It became so pedestrian. They did nothing. They did absolutely nothing. And I kept thinking, watching the game, like, you got Jacksonville, like, one of these drives, you've got to get at least a field goal. Like, 10 points is not a safe bet against the Patriots. You need to get as many points on the board as you can.
10 points down to the Patriots, like being tied with anybody else. It is.
And the whole thing, Jacksonville did it to themselves. They were, even if they had just been continued to play pedestrian, that would have been okay, I think. But the fact of the matter was, they walked the Patriots down the field on these with the penalties, and then when they did get another chance to really put a nail in them with that fumble, that
well, they did nothing.
Maybe it should have been whistled down. Maybe he's running back for a touchdown, whatever. But still, the fact of the matter is they get it, and not only do they not do anything with it,
it's 3 and out. Jesus,
it's passes. The clock stops.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't even waste time.
Like I when we were texting each other during the game, like as soon as they went 3 and out, like I said, well, good job, Jacksonville. You really took advantage of that opportunity.
Well,
at that exact point, that's when I was there too. Because as soon as I saw that they weren't doing a thing, and the Patriots were back to being the Patriots, it was just a matter of time. It was seriously just waiting for it to happen.
This is how good this Patriots team is, in my mind at least. When Jacksonville had that delay of game penalty that cost them a first down, I thought the momentum just shifted in this game on a penalty. Because that's all it takes for those Patriots to do it. And I get it. We're all tired of them, and a lot of people hate them and all that. But, my God, how good do you have to be when you're down 10 points in the fourth quarter or whenever it was, and everybody's going, oh, you're still going to win? I mean, come on. You got to respect that. Whether you like it or not, you've got to just go, that's a really good football team that you look at them being at a 10-point deficit in the championship game against a pretty good quality opponent and say, yeah, they're going to win this game. Not they might, if they get a couple breaks. Oh, if this happens, that happens. No, it's just as inevitable as the freaking sunrise. And I was just like amazed by that. That's how freaking good they are.
When the Patriots completed that final touchdown to go up, like when I forgot who it was who caught it. It doesn't fucking matter.
Amendola.
That was a hell of a catch too.
Basically just Tom Brady, and I think as McCarthy put it, or DG now, it's like McCarthy and like five no-name receivers who used to play lacrosse in university,
right?
Or something like that. Like, it's just like, but as soon as that touchdown, was made, like I knew it's just, like I laughed, like of course, fuck it, like there was no doubt in my mind it was going to happen. It was
between well, in the thing whole started like the one that I'm thinking of now in my head, Jacksonville was still up by a good margin. They get the Patriots into a 3rd and 18
and gave it up,
and gave it up. And at that point, it's like, no way. If you can't stop them on a 3rd and damn 18, you're just not going to do it.
Well, not only that, I was just going to say really quick. Not only did they get the 3rd and 18, but were you even surprised that they got the 3rd and 18?
No, I laughed.
Yeah,
I laughed. Because it's just like, as soon as I saw it, I said, oh, God, here we go. Here it goes.
Look. And the same thing you could say about Brady, you could say about Montana in the 80s, and that is that neither of them are unbeatable. Like there were plenty of times that Montana seemed to be down and out, and there were plenty of times Brady seemed to be down and out. But the problem was that teams could never figure out they could never take advantage of the opportunities to put them away. It was the same thing, and I learned this watching those old Super Bowl retrospectives they used to show during, the day of the Super Bowl. The Bengals and one of their Super Bowls, right? Like they would, Joe Montana would drop back for a pass, and it should have been intercepted, but the guy dropped it, and it's like, well, that was your shot, and you just gave him a second chance, and that's the thing. Like these quarterbacks, Brady, Montana, like. You're not. It's not hopeless. You have your shots to beat them, but more times than not, teams don't take advantage of it. And people like Tom Brady, like Joe Montana, are too goddamn good to give them a second chance. And to me, it wasn't a dropped interception or anything like that. But that 3rd and 18, that was that sort of that same situation. Like. Somehow, some way, you got the New England Patriots into a 3rd and 18 at a crucial moment in a game. Like, this is your moment to put the dagger in. And when they made it, it's like, well, damn it. You had him in a 3rd and 18, but you just gave Tom Brady another chance to win this game, and he's going to do it.
The thing was, real quick, Zach, I just want to bring this up before I forget. What led me to finally say, maybe Brady is better than Montana is this. I remember Montana, it was always if the game was tied or if they were within striking distance, you knew you were done. But it was never like if you were 10 points down or they were 10 points down, you thought, well, then they're going to win. I just don't ever remember feeling that way with Montana. It was like if he had a shot. With Brady, it doesn't even matter. You don't even need a shot. You just have to be within like 3 scores and he's going to beat you. And that I don't remember. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm remembering it incorrectly. But I remember with Montana, it was like he had to be within striking distance. The Patriots don't even need that. We saw it last year in the Super Bowl. We saw it in this game. 20-10, they're down. I forget how much time was left, and they were still down 10 points. They got this one in the bag. That's the difference to me between Montana and Brady. And I got to say that I've got to give Brady the nod because it was just inevitable. It wasn't even like a if. It was just like, okay, how are they going to do it? And we were all resigned to the fact that it was over at that point. They were down 10, and we're like, well, they're going to win. Like, not that they're going to win, they've already won. It just is amazing to me. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, the Patriots scored their second to last touchdown with 8:44 left.
Yeah.
They were down by 10 with like 10 minutes. 9 minutes left, whatever. And here's the thing. Jacksonville, I thought played good.
Yeah.
They were playing the perfect they had the perfect game plan.
Right.
When Jacksonville came out, I was like, you know who Jacksonville reminded me of in the first half of this game specifically? It would have been the 2015 Kansas City Royals, right? Where they're going to kill you by a million paper cuts.
Yep, exactly. That's a good analogy.
And they were playing so well, and they were keeping Brady off the field. Oh.
And I was already asked this by a couple people, kind of looking forward to the Super Bowl, and it's like, well, can the Eagles beat them? And I'm like, if the Jaguars didn't beat them, here's the thing: the Jaguars played the exact right style that you need to play to beat the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
They rushed they only rushed for the 4 down linemen. They were getting pressure up the middle. They got to Brady plenty. They didn't let him, if he was going anywhere, he was running outside. They sacked him. And on offense, they were running the ball. They were controlling the clock. They were doing everything that you need to do. they just didn't do it long enough. And the other thing is, had Jacksonville had more talent, they would have won this game in a walk.
Yeah.
But because it's Blake Bortles, like Blake Bortles, to his credit, 293 yards, 1 touchdown, no turnovers in his 3 playoff games. Like that's as good as you. This is as good of a stretch as Blake Bortles will ever play in his career.
Yeah, and it's more than you could have ever hoped for going into it.
Yep. And the fact of the matter is, they just couldn't finish the job. They're not good enough. They had the right idea. They had the right strategy. They had the right game plan. They just weren't good enough to execute it.
It was just the Patriots. It's like Mike pointed out. You just can't leave them any daylight at all. Not even a little bit. Because we saw it. It all started with that delay of game penalty. And once that happened, and because if Jacksonville gets that first down, they're at least in field goal range, and it may change everything at that point. Nope. And then they screw up even worse. They get a holding penalty and a sack and blah, blah, blah. And here we are. The momentum's completely in New England's favor. They haven't even touched the ball yet. And it's already done at that point. And then the 3rd and 18. You just cannot give them a chance. And you're right. Jacksonville played the perfect game. If you want to beat the Patriots, they showed you the game plan on how to do it. But you've got to hit it every single mark along the way. You can't make a single mistake.
And I'm going to say that Jacksonville, despite not having the talent needed to really put them away, is probably a more talented team than the Eagles right now. And, I don't know. If Carson Wentz were under center for the Eagles, then I would have confidence the Eagles could maybe pull this out. But I'm sorry, man. Nick Foles winning a quarterback duel with Case Keenum does not fill me with confidence that he will win a quarterback duel with Tom freaking Brady.
Well, not only that, but I think the Minnesota Vikings we saw on Sunday, I don't know if they weren't kind of like the Minnesota Vikings we kind of expected all year, and we kept going, where are these guys coming from? Because I think we talked about it all season, okay, the Vikings, they're pretty good, but what the hell's going on here? And I think finally, I don't know. And then Bill Simmons, I thought, brought up a great point in the article he wrote. They acted like they won the Super Bowl last week when that catch. And he said that's a bad sign. Well, maybe it is. I don't know. Whatever happened yesterday or Sunday in that game with the Eagles and Vikings, I don't know what the hell happened there, but that was not what I expected.
I think, and you brought this up, Greg, that this is not the first time this has happened. We see cases like this all the time in playoffs, not just football, but across all sports, where a team has a miraculous comeback in one of the rounds to win it, and then the next round they're just flat. And I know, the analytics geeks don't like to talk about momentum because it can't be calculated, but I think momentum is definitely real, and I think related to momentum as sort of being an intangible stat. I'm not really sure how to put this, but it's almost like you don't want to use up everything you've got in one shot. And sometimes you have to advance because of that's just the situation you're in. But I do think there's something to be said that maybe – and I don't blame the Vikings for celebrating like they did last week because that was truly an amazing victory. No one's going to say, oh, they should have acted like they've been there. We're like, no, fuck you. That was a great play. It was like a miracle play. You know what? If I was on that team, I would have celebrated like that too. Like that you can't – they're not at fault for that. But – it does kind of speak to the fact that maybe they gave everything that they had, and going into another week, going into the NFC title game, they just were emotionally exhausted. Not to say they didn't care, but everything that they had, everything that they had, the drive they had to go further, it had all been spent. And I know that's not something you can calculate or measure, but I think we see it too often in sports, or just discounted entirely.
Well, yeah, because the Saints gave them a hell of a game. That was a tough football game, and it took a miracle play at the end for the Vikings to win that game. And it wasn't because they played poorly. That was a knockdown. That was a heavyweight fight going on between those two teams. So, I could see where they might be a little spent. But go ahead, Zach.
But as they took everything, because I think – Simmons said this, and I think we've said this too, that the Saints were probably the best team.
I think so. I've thought that since the playoffs started in the NFC,
Had the Saints like Drew Brees just looked off in the first half of that game, and had the Saints been on like they were in the second half, the Saints win that game. They probably beat Philly, and they're going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
I would have to think. It's just the Vikings needed that miracle, and then they move on to the next round.
But
and Case Keenum finally turned into a pumpkin.
But the thing is that he did it after they looked great in the opening drive. It wasn't like he came out and played terrible from the start. They looked fantastic to open the game, and then they fell apart. That's what I don't get.
And then the second drive, he throws an interception.
Yeah,
and then he just starts getting beat up. The Eagles defense got after them after that first drive. Credit to the Eagles defense. I think that's the thing that really spurred them on in that game is you get the pick six, you start getting the pressure, and then
momentum.
Nick Foles looked like he did when he first came into the league.
Yeah.
Not like the guy that's been bumped around St. Louis and Kansas City for the last, 5 years or whatever.
I think there's also something that, it didn't take, like you mentioned, Case Keenum turned into a pumpkin. I think, we all knew that Casey Keenum was not what he was playing far and beyond his abilities or what he had shown his abilities to be. And, sometimes that doesn't last forever a lot of times.
Maybe it's just the law of big numbers. Eventually he had to come back down to earth, and it just happened at the worst time possible. Mm-hmm. Could be as simple as that.
I think it's as simple as that, and I think there's something to be said that maybe that first interception rattled him a bit, and he never quite got his confidence back after it. Who knows? It could be any number of things, but
yeah, you got to give credit, I think, to the entire Eagles organization, because when the playoffs started, even though they were the number one seed, no one thought they had a chance in hell of going to the Super Bowl.
I mean, no one thought they had a chance in hell of going to the Super Bowl, but they played a Falcons team that decided to choke away another game.
Yeah,
and they played a Vikings team that regressed to the norm hard. So, I don't know. It's been weird. Then again, the Patriots played the two teams out of, the goddamn AFC South to get here. So, It's been a stupid season all year.
But the Jaguars, watching them play Sunday, and I think Bortles gave you everything you could possibly hope for out of him in a playoff run. I mean, really, could you ask for anything more? Going into it, if you had said this is the way Blake Bortles is going to play in these two playoff games, there's not a Jaguars fan out there that wouldn't have taken it in a heartbeat. So, I'll take exactly what he did. But I think this team's good enough, and they really showed me a lot in the playoffs. They're good enough, but they're, like Zach said, they're a little bit short on the talent. I think that the first thing they've got to do is address their quarterback situation. I think a better quarterback, they win that game.
The Jaguars had a chance to still win this because they did get the ball back after that final Patriots TD, and it was fourth down, and Blake Bortles, God bless him, he tried to make something happen, but that final play, it was an incomplete pass. He couldn't make it happen. And I don't know either, and I think it just comes down to the fact that, look, you have your Blake Bortles facts Twitter, and you can dress Chris Sims up in a Blake Bortles jersey on ESPN, and you can talk about how he's so underappreciated. I don't care. You know what? I'm still on the hate train. He's not he's not a quarterback who's going to win you the Super Bowl, and I think I think the fact that they had to rely on him to win that game in a 2-minute drill, and that he did not pull it out, it is indicative that, I'm sorry, he's just not going to be that guy.
Yeah,
and if the Jaguars want to get to that next level, they need to find a guy like that. And
Blake Bortles is a poor man's Joe Flacco.
Oh, God.
Yes, that's another great analogy.
He's Joe Flacco, for all of his faults, was still decent enough to lead the Ravens to a Super Bowl. If the Jaguars have Joe Flacco, they beat the Patriots?
Not this current Joe Flacco, but maybe peak performance Joe Flacco. I think they have a better shot, sure.
Yeah, maybe.
Blake Bortles, despite how well he played in the playoffs, this was not some sort of redemption tour. He didn't all of a sudden become whatever people are thinking that he became.
And again, I want to remind everyone that he was the quote unquote victor in that Buffalo game in what remains one of like the most dog shit playoff games I've ever seen in the NFL. So, it's not like he was lighting it up all playoffs. That he struggled against the goddamn Bills, for crying out loud. So
he played great. I guess he played way above what you would expect in the NFC Championship game, but that doesn't change the fact that I just couldn't trust him for a 16-game season. They've got to get somebody better. And I don't know. I just keep going back to the Patriots. Jesus, God almighty, what a team.
This is look, love him or hate him, this is we're watching one of the most dominant teams in NFL history, if not the most dominant team in NFL history. And I think if they have the number in terms of championships, they have the pure numbers, as a dynasty to potentially be the best team. But I think once we get to, I think if they are able to win the Super Bowl this year, then undoubtedly they've got to get the crown. I don't know how you argue against them at this point.
After they did what they did last year, it's impossible to argue against them, at least for me. And now if they do it again this year, and they would have won 6, this is their 10th Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
Both would be tied for the most all time.
Well,
and the thing that we've talked about this before, but you look at teams like the Steelers or even the Cowboys to an extent, where it's like those teams had multiple eras of success. This Patriots, all these Patriots numbers, where it's like, oh, they're tied for most franchise, blah blah. It's all happened in this one run. So I don't know how anyone could do otherwise.
That's the difference. I was going to bring this up. This is their 8th Super Bowl with Brady and Belichick. Okay, it's 2018. All right, it's been 17 years since the first one. It's like they've been in the Super Bowl every other year for the entirety of this run. Now, it hasn't worked out. The math hasn't worked out quite like that, but it averages out to every other year they're in the Super Bowl.
10 conference title games, 7 conference title games in a row.
Yeah. I don't know how you argue against them at this point. I mean, my last shred of hope was that Montana was still the better quarterback, but I'm not even so. And again, this is, you're really talking, such a minor difference here, but I don't even know how you can make that case anymore. I mean, if I can't do it, because like I said, with Montana, it was like if he had a shot with Brady, they're down 10. They don't even have the ball, and you're already talking about how's he going to do it. Not if, but how, and that they've already won the game. I don't ever remember thinking that with Montana.
And the thing is, too, assuming that they go through to next year with Belichick and Brady still intact, they're the favorites next year too, right?
Yeah, sure.
They can't not be. That's
the only thing they've got left to do is to be the first team to win 3 in a row. They do that. I think they've pretty much settled all arguments at this point.
I mean, if they win this year, that's another repeat, and if they win next year, it's not only 3 in a row, but it's most Super Bowls of all time, because currently the Steelers have 6, so the Patriots win this year, they'll have 6 too. Yeah. And then that would be 7 if they manage to three-peat.
And they would have won 3 out of the last 4, which is pretty darn good in its own right. Those 70s Steelers teams were incredible. The 80s Niners teams, 90s Cowboys, all great, great teams. I've never seen anything like this. And the NFL in particular, and sports in general. I mean, maybe the 50s Yankees or something, which I wasn't around for, but...
The only things that are comparable are those Yankees teams, the 70s Canadians teams.
Yeah.
And, I guess what would it be, the 50s, 60s Celtics?
Yeah. Right.
I mean, those 70s Canadians teams would have years where they lost less than 20 games, which in an NHL season is just insane.
Right. But again, when we look at all those teams, those are from a past era.
Mm-hmm.
Where with the Canadians, there were 8 NHL teams, right? Or I guess
not right. That
was right after expansion. So there was 15, 16, 17. The Yankees of the 50s, obviously much less teams.
Well, but less teams, barely had black players even integrated the sport at that point. I mean, it had happened, but not I think that same in basketball, the same thing. But in baseball, they talk about integration, all that, sure, but it really didn't equal out, I think, until probably the late 70s, early 80s, where it finally became the greatest players that can play are playing the game at this point. But yeah,
but the point is to do this in the modern age of sports as we have it, with 30-team leagues and salary caps and money as it is. The agency. This is impossible. Literally impossible. Like, that's why when Alabama won the college championship, that's the only thing you can possibly compare it to, because in college you have so much control over what's going on. Mm-hmm. You can build your team if you're in Alabama. You can construct your roster exactly how you want it to in that regard. And that's really the Patriots' only comparison currently. And you look at how Alabama's won, they haven't even done what the Patriots have done.
No.
College is different in many facets, sure, but the Patriots have no equal when it comes to this sort of stuff.
From a football standpoint, there's nothing to compare them to. They have literally set the standard. And I don't know how you ever do this again.
I hate it.
I think any of us are crazy about it. It's kind of boring. And I don't know what it is. I've talked about this before. The 49ers never got this kind of hate. I don't understand what the difference is, because essentially they're the same kind of team. The 49ers were this dominant in the 80s. They didn't win quite as many Super Bowls, obviously, but
it's the fans, it's the scandals, it's all that.
I guess.
Like, the 49ers were never accused of cheating. They were just good.
Actually, they were a couple times, believe it or not, but yeah.
Were they taping signals?
No, that was more like they were kind of skirting around financial things and that, but nothing, that.
Right, and then you add on to just the rise of Boston in the 2000s, with the Red Sox and the Celtics.
I'm a Chargers fan. I watched the Chargers run into the brick wall that was the Patriots plenty of times. But I don't know. Maybe I just got to that point earlier than you did, Greg. But at a certain point, I just kind of got it. I just kind of reached a point where I was like, this is one of, if not the greatest NFL teams of all time. I'm gonna stop the hate, because my hate's not going to stop this. I might as well. I'm not going to become a Patriots fan, but I can at least sit back and be like, well, you know what? Let's just see how long this can go.
Yeah, kind of. And maybe at least try to appreciate it, I guess, right?
Yeah. Like, not as a fan of the team, but just like, I like football, and it would be cool to be able to tell, kids, you know what? I was around, I was there. I saw it firsthand, like, the greatest dynasty of all time when they did their thing. Like, because growing up, when I was a little kid, Gretzky was still playing, but he was kind of at the tail end of his career in New York. But you heard about all the great things he did in the 80s. My dad being a Canadiens fan, he talked about Guy Lafleur and the Canadiens in the 70s. And, you had, in football, Joe Montana and the 49ers in the 80s. And it was, and so growing up, I heard all these stories of all these great dynasties doing all this stuff. And it always kind of just seemed kind of like when Zach and I tease you, Greg, about how, like, when you say the Red Wings used to be bad, and we're like, well, that kind of just sounds like far off stories that may or may not be true. That was kind of how I viewed a lot of these stories of these great dynasties.
It's true. All of it.
Exactly. I never got to experience it firsthand. And, do I wish it was my team? Yeah. But, that's a 132 shot, honestly. I mean, it was going to be someone eventually, and odds were not on it being a team that I liked, and I might as well just enjoy it. As a fan of football, just be like, you know what? They've done some great things as a team. Let's just sit back and enjoy and see how long they can keep it up. And I understand sports hate. Sports hate is fine. I engage in sports hate. Anyone who's listened to this show knows that I do not shy away from telling the likes of the Ottawa Senators and the Detroit Red Wings to go fuck off and die, because they're awful blights on the world of hockey. But I don't go home and curse my life as a hockey fan because the Red Wings exist. But you see this every time when the Patriots, win. It's this outpouring of, this team is awful, they're not fun. No one, like, I saw somebody mention, like, when all is said and done, no one's going to remember any of the Patriots games. Like,
are you fucking kidding me?
you tell me no one's going to remember. It's like, I'm sorry, DG. You think no one's going to remember the greatest comeback in the history of the Super Bowl? Like, come on now. Like, just.
He actually said that no one's going to remember Patriots games.
He did, yes.
Oh wow, that is
the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history, the first overtime Super Bowl history, the game-winning kicks to win the Super Bowl. Yeah, no one's going to remember Adam Vinatieri.
That might be the dumbest thing anyone's ever said on those boards.
And you know
that's
what?
saying something.
That's a real high bar to get to. But,
well, you know, I will just say this, Mike, that I have been. I was there for the '70s Steelers. I was kind of young at the beginning of it, but I, grew into being a football fan in the middle of it. I saw the '80s 49ers. I saw the '90s Cowboys. I've seen all the dynasties. I've never seen one like this, ever. When I'm talking like the Gretzky Oilers, the '80s Lakers, '80s Celtics, I've never seen anything like this. The Patriots they've set the standard for what a dynasty is at this point.
I'm just tired of having to deal with the fact that every time something like this happens, anytime the Patriots win, we have to go through this like, the Patriots winning or what's killing the NFL's ratings. Like, I'm sorry, no. The NFL's ratings decline is basically a Rorschach test for, whoever happens to be analyzing it. If they're mad that brown people are protesting America, then it's the protests. If it's, people who are sick of the Patriots, it's the Patriots winning. Like, you know what? The reason the NFL's ratings are going down is probably complex, and we've gone into it before at the show. It's a multifaceted thing, but I guarantee you it's not because the team that annoys you, is winning a lot. That's not the reason. I'm just saying that I understand sports hate. I understand if the Patriots are one of those teams to hate. Look, I get it. I'm a pro wrestling fan. It's always fun to hate the dominant heel. Ric Flair drew millions of dollars for like 20 years, basically being the wrestling version of the Patriots. Like I understand the appeal to hating the Patriots. It's fun, but it's fun. It's cathartic in a way, even if they end up winning because you stuck by the underdogs against the evil empire. It's a good feeling. I understand. It's all in good fun. But we've gotten to the point now where so many people are just so petty and pissy about it. Like, I'm sorry, no. Patriots winning, I don't want to have to deal with every Patriots victory by having to read everyone online talking about how it's literally killing football because, goddamn it, football might be dying, but it's not because of the Patriots.
First off, with the NFL ratings, I think what we're seeing here was just what had to happen. We talked about this when this show first started. This is just a normal leveling off. I don't think it's anything to panic about. It's nothing to get excited about. This had to happen. And it's happening. They were going to level off. They weren't going to maintain that level that they were at 3 or 4 years ago, and everybody knew it. So just calm down. I think with the Patriots, the numbers would tend to say otherwise because what I read is that when they're involved in these games, the ratings go up. So people can complain about them all they want, but they still draw viewers. And, I just wanted to go back to the Red Wings thing for a second. This is what I think is so funny about it with you guys. To me, they were so terrible. It's like, how could you not feel anything but good for them now that they're finally good? And you guys see them as like this monolithic, soulless empire. And to me, it's like, God, they were so terrible. You can't help but like the fact that they're doing well. It cracks me up.
Do the Eagles have a legitimate shot?
I think so, sure.
I think their defense – okay, here's the thing. I think that, as Zach said, the Jags played like the perfect game to if you want to beat the Patriots. And I think that if you want to follow that formula and do it successfully, the Eagles have the defense to pull it off. They have the defense that's good enough, I think, to force Brady into enough 3-and-outs to give the Eagles offense a chance. But that offense is where I think that they don't have that, because I think that the Eagles offense, as it's constructed going into the Super Bowl, is less talented than the Jags offense was going into the AFC title game. And I think that they can have the game plan all set up, and the defense might do its part, but if they don't have an offense that can put points on the board, it's not going to matter.
If Nick Foles plays like he did against the Vikings, or if he can play close to that, he doesn't have to be that perfect. Like, he was pretty damn good on Sunday. But if he can just be competent Nick Foles and do a good job, and the defense does what it does, sure, I think they've got a shot. But like we said at the top of the show, don't give them a chance. And if you get up on them, you keep that hammer down. And then again, I don't know. Atlanta did that. Didn't do them a bit of good. So I don't know. Maybe they don't have a shot. Maybe it's just inevitable. Give them the rings on. Let's be done with it. But I think the Eagles have got a better shot at it probably than the Vikings would have had they played each other. Even though the Vikings was a quote-unquote home team, even though that would have been bullshit. I mean, sure, they would have been playing in their home stadium, but it wasn't like it was going to be filled with the hometown Minnesota Viking fans. But I think they got a shot.
Here's my thing. You're giving Bill Belichick 2 weeks to prepare for Nick Foles.
Well, when you put it like that.
That's a very good point.
Man, buzzkill. I mean, come on.
As much as I would love to see the Patriots fall, especially to a team like this and a quarterback like that, I don't see a way where it happens. Because partially too, I don't know if the Eagles play the right way, like we talked about with the Jaguars. Yes, the defense can get after it and they can put pressure, but not in the same way that Jacksonville could. And the offense is different. They're not going to, as good as Jai has been for them at times, they're not going to run the ball down your throat to control the clock. They're not going to try to cut and bleed you to death. And I don't think, and if you want to get in a shooting match with them, well, Tom Brady's going to outshoot Nick Foles every day of the week.
I think you could have stopped that. Bill Belichick has 2 weeks to prepare for Nick Foles. That would have been all the argument needed, really. After that, I don't know. I mean, you're just running the score up after that.
I know. But you see exactly what my thought is. It's just... Yeah,
like I said, when you put it like that, it just takes all the hope right out of the room.
And poor, not that I feel bad for Philadelphia fans often, but, they're running into the Patriots twice.
No kidding.
Hey, well, if the Patriots are this generation's 49ers, I guess that makes the Eagles this generation's Cincinnati Bengals,
Well, not only that, but you got to, with the way things have worked out in the past 20 years, if you're going to the Super Bowl, it's a 50-50 shot you're going to play the Patriots anyway. Every 2 years. But I don't have any feeling for Eagles fans because I watched a video somebody took yesterday from the game. I saw it yesterday where these guys are walking by in Vikings jerseys and people are throwing full beers at them.
Oh, yeah.
I thought, you know what a bunch of assholes. I mean, I get it. You want to give people shit because they're not rooting for your team and all that. But, I mean, that you can kill somebody doing that stuff.
Look. I know Bring Back the Vet likes to claim that the stereotype of Philly fans is obsolete and only peddled by people who, you obviously haven't been here. No, I'm sorry, Vet. Philly fans are trash. Just because you have enough moral fortitude to know that throwing a full beer at a fan in an opposing team's jersey is wrong doesn't mean the rest of the troglodytes who populate your city do.
Well, I told the story.
Not even a full can of beer. There was glass bottles.
Yeah.
And I've told the story on the show numerous times when I was in Ocean City, Maryland one time watching the Rangers play the Phillies in the 96-97 Eastern Conference Finals. And these Philly guys walked into the bar I was at with me and my buddy watching the Rangers. And did everything they could to try to pick a literal fist fight with us over. And not, we were just watching the game. We weren't cheering, nothing. Just kind of oh, that's cool. Nice, nice pass, whatever. And these guys made it their mission. These Philly guys, they were going to fight us physically. So that's what you're up against with Philly fans. So I'm with you, Mike. I mean, yeah, he can say what he wants. People can say what they want. I've watched these assholes too many times over the years to buy into any of it. They're jerks. It's as simple as that.
Who the fuck boos Santa Claus? I mean, God damn it. I'm Jewish. I wouldn't even boo Santa Claus.
I just think they're the worst fans in sports. I'm sorry, but they've earned that reputation.
I don't know. Red Sox and Cardinals fans do give them a run.
Yeah, well, I will say that. Red Sox fans, I've seen plenty of them at Progressive Field. I never felt threatened by any of them.
Okay, that's fair enough. And nobody no Cardinals fan is gonna make you fear for your life. They're just gonna roll their eyes and tisk at you in their jean shorts. But
yeah, that's the difference to me. But I just watching them throw those beers. I mean, that's just dangerous shit, man.
Yeah.
I don't know why you would do that. And plus, it's beer. It's not exactly cheap,
especially at a football stadium.
Yeah, no kidding. I don't know. So yeah, you're probably right, Zach. Now that you put it that way, okay, it's no chance, but.
And the other thing that the Patriots are going to have going for them, did you see the jersey news?
Yeah.
Are they wearing
They're wearing white.
Patriots are going to wear white. and the Eagles will wear green. That's the exact same matchup as when they played back in 2005.
I'm surprised. Belichick doesn't seem the superstitious type.
Well, until you look at the numbers, and what was it? 12 out of the last 13 teams that wore white won the Super Bowl?
Yep, 12 out of the last 13. The only team to wear a color and win the Super Bowl was
Green Bay Packers.
Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
Overall, teams in white have won more often than their opponents. Through 51 Super Bowls, teams wearing white are 33-18.
Wow. That's significant.
Pretty lopsided. That's pretty lopsided.
Yeah. Well, remember the Steelers, the year that the referees gave them that game against the Seahawks, chose to wear white because they'd been wearing white on the road the whole time.
Yeah, well, so they did that again the next time they played.
And that's when the Packers beat them. Sometimes you just got to...
Well, no, they beat the Cardinals first.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, that's right.
Although, to be fair, I really don't mind the fact that the refs gave the Steelers Super Bowl 40 because I would rather have not seen a team win the Super Bowl in like monotone slate blue-gray. I'm sorry. No.
I always thought those uniforms looked good if they wore white pants with them.
Yeah, but Seattle's uniforms have been it's been like a steady downward trend.
And you know what this means too, now that I think about it? Had my beloved Rams actually made it through, they would have had to wear the blue jerseys.
Oh Lord.
Super Bowl. maybe this is fine.
Well, look, in the event that the Rams had made it through, I would have just taken the fun. You know what, NFL, we're going to wear the throwbacks, and that's what's going to happen. Yeah. And, we'll pay, Stan Kroenke, doesn't he own part of Walmart or something? He could probably find that in his car cushions.
Somebody posted a potential if the Patriots and Eagles both wore their throwbacks for this game.
Well, that looked good.
Yeah. Eagles in the Kelly green, the Patriots in the red jerseys, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think if the Rams made it, that the NFL would have given them, because the NFL doesn't want their Super Bowl teams looking like dog shit. They have to let them wear the throwbacks, right?
I don't think the NFL cares enough, to be perfectly honest.
Well, all right. That's the biggest thing on television. You want one of your teams to look ridiculous?
The NFL, the Rams look like they do because they are operating entirely within NFL uniform regulations. The NFL, technically speaking, doesn't have a problem with the way the Rams look because the Rams didn't break any rules to look like this.
Well, not to mention the fact that the NFL is also what gave us Color Rush. So if they think that's a good idea, then they're not going to give a shit what the Rams look like.
Although, to be fair, apparently that's over, which is fantastic.
Is it really?
They said that they haven't announced that it's over, but they said that they're going to give teams ultimate flexibility.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Well, a lot of teams, for reasons passing understanding, liked those uniforms. I can't imagine why, but they did. I don't know. So what the point spread ended up being? I said it was going to be double digits, but I don't think it turned out that way, did it?
I think right now it's 5 for the Patriots.
Do you think that's low?
A little bit, but I think it's kind of like what I said to you when we were texting about it, was that the Patriots haven't blown anybody out all year.
That's true.
They played a lot of tight games, so they can, but I think they might end up blowing out Philly, but who's to know?
2 weeks for Belichick to prepare for Nick Foles. That's all you need to say.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you need to say.
I'm telling you, it's when I was thinking about it, I'm like, yeah, that's what it is. Oh, so it's New England by 5.5.
Well,
the over-under is 45.5.
Well, when it became clear that the Eagles were winning that game, as you said, Zach, congratulations on the 6-time Super Bowl champion New England Patriots. Case
Keenum or Nick Foles, they're not losing the Super Bowl. Just not happening. Even if Rob Gronkowski can't overcome his concussion in 2 weeks.
Oh, he'll overcome it. I don't think that's going to be a problem.
I thought about this at the time, and then I saw it echoed elsewhere, so I knew that I wasn't on the wrong track. How does one even test Rob Gronkowski for a concussion?
Good point.
Really.
I did find it hilarious, though, that the Patriots were able to complete that comeback even without Gronk, because it literally doesn't matter. It's Gronk's not available. We'll find some other former lacrosse player who will just catch it catch the game-winning touchdown. Like, it's fine.
People make such a big deal about how important Gronk is to the Patriots, and I don't know if he is.
I don't think he is. I was just going to say that.
He's good, but I don't. Like, they've won plenty without him. They'll win plenty with him.
I mean, we heard before the season started, the Patriots have lost Edelman and they've been fine. And, did the Patriots fall apart when Wes Welker left? No, like, I'm sorry. I don't mean to demean wide receivers or anything, but they are cogs in the Patriots machine. And if one of them can't go, then Bill Belichick has a former lacrosse player somewhere who can.
No, they've lost so many good players over the years. Come on.
And here's this brings up something else that I want to bring up. Patriot fans, stop. When you see the people in the stands when they're down like 10 points in the fourth quarter, and it's like, oh God, what are we gonna do? Oh, and I'm seeing it all over Twitter too. Just Patriot fans like, oh,
really?
Oh, woe is us. How are we going to overcome that? Like, what are you talking about?
Oh man, they need to think like we do. We were like already printing up T-shirts.
Fuck you. The three of us are better Patriots fans than they are.
I guess.
Patriots fans.
These people are just like, oh my God, it's so horrible. We hate this. And it's just like, every time I see these people do that, I just think to myself, do you not understand? Like, if I was unfortunate enough to be a Patriot fan, I don't know how exactly I react, but I think I'd be like, yeah, this is all right. We're down, but we'll be okay.
You were down 28-3 in the Super Bowl and you won.
That's exactly what I thought too.
Yeah, come on.
Like,
what are people talking about?
Like I said, like when they're down 10 points, it's like being tied with anybody else.
Like if I were a Patriots fan in that stadium, down 20-10 in the fourth quarter, I'd be doing the fucking wave. Like, come on, guys, it's gonna be fine.
Yeah,
it's gonna be fine.
That's the way they. I mean, if you watch them on the sidelines, that's the way they are. The players, they knew they were in no trouble.
Fuck, just going back to moments when you knew that game was over. I remember when they were still, when the Jags were still up, I think, what was it, 20-17, and the Patriots were marching down the field, and they're still up, and they cut over to the Jags sideline, and every Jags player just looked dejected.
Well, I talked about us being positive the Patriots are going to win. Even when Jacksonville was playing at their very best, were you at any point entirely confident that they could win the game? I wasn't. I just kept thinking, if you don't get up by 30, you might as well forget it.
Mm-hmm.
That's, like I said, love them or hate them, but when you've got a team that you think about like that means they're pretty doggone good. Unbelievable.
Yeah, just, I don't know. That's the reason why I can't stand that fan base, is just like, oh no, we're losing. Oh my God, it's over.
Please.
Like, come on. And then when they win, it's, oh my God. It's at a certain point, don't you become numb to winning and losing? Like, yep, good, we won. There we go. We're the best. Go us.
I would think at this point, I mean, I suppose you're going to get excited every time you make the Super Bowl, but man, I can't imagine it's anything like it was the first or second time around at this point, is it? Can't be.
No, it couldn't.
Yeah. They're good.
Whatever.
They're good. And I don't like their uniforms. That's about the only thing I can say bad about it.
I don't mind the Patriots uniforms. I think
they're a good idea. That they look like they were made by a committee. There were too many compromises made on every element that kind of made it like go, it's not bad. It's not great.
Well, you do realize like they're probably never going to change them now, because why would you?
No, of course not. I wouldn't. I don't think they'll even tweak them. I mean, these things are going to become like in 20 years, going to be like, man, those classic Patriot uniforms. It's like, I don't know.
I think I would almost think they would at a certain point, because then it's like, these are the Tom Brady uniforms.
Yeah.
And you change them.
Oh, speaking of Patriots stuff and Jaguars stuff, did you guys catch who the two honorary captains were who would have presented the AFC trophy to whatever team ended up winning? Fred Taylor and Drew Bledsoe. That took me back. I just wanted to mention
Fred Taylor, yeah. See, I told you he was somebody.
Yeah, Jacksonville legend.
Yeah. Well, he was, I think. I thought he was.
And they even showed clips from the 1996 AFC title game where
Oh, that's right. The Jags played in that, didn't they?
Yeah. The Jags in their original uniforms that looked pretty good against the flying Elvis uniforms.
The big giant shoulder things. Yeah. Oh, those were horrible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then the Packers beat the Patriots that year. 96. Yeah. See, that's what you need. You just need the Packers, and they'll take care of business. No, not to worry about the Patriots if we can get the Packers
I don't know.
involved.
Do they still have to release Aaron Rodgers?
Do
they still have to release Aaron Rodgers?
Still have to release him.
Apparently, there was some brouhaha going on about like the way they handled his IR status, and then they brought him back that day. That apparently, according to some obscure NFL rule, they were like required to release him.
Gee, you think anybody will pick him up?
So,
who's number one on the waiver wire? That'd be the Browns, right?
Yeah, the Browns.
Oh my, that would be hysterical, wouldn't it? Come on. I mean, I'm a Packers shareholder in the whole bit, but I think that would be really funny.
Aaron Rodgers, Cleveland Brown.
Yeah. Well, you know what the Browns are going to do? They're going to sign one of these idiot, like either Case Keenum or I forget who are the other, some of the bad, like Sam Bradford, one of those idiots.
No. Watch them go after Blake Bortles because the Jags
or him.
The Jags are going to improve at QB, and then the Cleveland will sign Blake Bortles, and they'll feel really proud about themselves about it.
That was speaking of Case Keenum and signing him, that was an interesting question too, because he's a free agent.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
How much does he get paid? Do the Vikings pay him?
I think he and Bradford, I think all three of their quarterbacks are actually up for the Vikings. Yeah. Bridgewater and Bradford too.
Yeah.
Look, it doesn't matter. If the Vikings don't pay Keenum, someone will, because Matt Flynn turned one good game into like the most lucrative contract of all time. So Casey Keenum actually had a pretty good season. So I think he'll be able to get his money.
I was about to say that teams learned their lesson from Matt Flynn, but that would have been funny. No, there's no way they learned anything.
Who would sign Case Keenum right
now? The Cleveland Browns.
No, Cleveland's going to draft all three quarterbacks. Remember?
Oh yeah, that's right. They're gonna draft like the entire quarterback class because they can't all be busts.
Well, okay, that's
the Buffalo.
The talk around here now is
Buffalo is all on Nate Peterman. Come on, man.
Someone has to be.
Keenum, somebody will. I don't think he's going to get anywhere near the $20 million a year or whatever that the going rate for a top flight quarterback is. Well, somebody will pay him. Yeah, I think so. I think it'll be the Vikings. I think the Vikings want to go back to Teddy Bridgewater. I think they would have gone back to Bridgewater had they been able to, but Keenum was just playing too well. You just couldn't do it just because, which is about the only reason they had at that point.
It was hilarious seeing Bradford suited up on the sidelines in that game too. just in case, if things go sideways, here he is.
Well, I thought that Zimmer said he was going to put Bradford in if things got out of hand.
He said that last week or the week previous.
I wonder what his idea of out of hand is at this point.
Well, and then they asked because it was Buck and Aikman both weeks with the Vikings. So when they played the Saints, they asked him. He's like, "Well, if it goes sideways, then we'll throw him in." And then when it was before the this last game, the Eagle game, I guess Zimmer said that we're going to ride Case until it, unless something truly dastardly happens.
I mean, maybe, I don't know, the Jags, maybe they figure we'll trade in Bradford, Bortles for Keenum.
Well, the best part was, as cousin Sal pointed out on Simmons' podcast, there was some prop bet where if any of the four teams' backup quarterback took a snap, it was this payout.
But it had to be not due to injury, though. It had to be just because.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then so he posed the question: if I had told you that the Eagles' backup quarterback would be playing in the fourth quarter, what would you think the score was going to be? So Nate Sudfeld, come on down.
Well, the two games went exactly opposite of, I think, what we thought were going to happen. We thought that the Pats would just blow out the Jaguars and that the Vikings would be a pretty tight game. No. It's just, what'd you guys say? It's just the NFL's stupid this season or something like that? It's been a stupid season?
Yeah, it's been a stupid NFL season all the way through, but it's going to ultimately end.
Like it always does.
Here's the whole thing.
Okay, let's have a look here.
I feel like you need to see it on Ovechkin as he's modeling it to truly appreciate how bad this is.
Yeah, so the white shoulder is kind of whatever. The Caps logo is still just as dumb as it was when we saw it leaked.
But
the hem stripe. Yeah, right. The logo is in lowercase letters.
But the slogan is all caps.
Yeah, which makes sense. The hem stripe is a cummerbund.
Yeah, that's too big.
And we were wondering why a team that was quote unquote rocking the red would wear navy blue.
Well, against a blue team.
See, here's the thing. Like, I like the colors, but I think they're done much better by, say, the Columbus Blue Jackets or the New York Rangers when the Rangers wear the Liberty alts and all that.
Well, Greg, before you scroll down too far, would you like to take a stab as to why the Capitals are wearing navy blue?
I have no idea, but I'm sure it's wonderful.
Well, if you forgot, they're playing this game in Annapolis at the Naval Academy.
Oh, so navy blue Naval Academy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's bullshit.
I didn't know that the New York Rangers were honoring the U.S. Navy all these years.
Well, they don't because they wear royal blue.
Sorry, I meant the Yankees. I bet.
Yeah. Actually, the Rangers they don't have alts this year, but the old New York alts from last year were navy blue, right?
They're Winter Classics from this year.
Yeah, and you got the Jackets who honor the Navy every time they take the ice, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Who else wears navy blue in the NHL? Is that it? That can't be
Oilers. The Oilers. I mean, they have it's part of their color scheme. It's not primarily, but
the Canadian Navy, of course.
Yeah, the Royal Canadian Navy with their many bases in landlocked Edmonton, Alberta.
The Winnipeg Jets,
a
team that honors the Royal Canadian Air Force, also honoring the American Navy with their navy blue jerseys.
Well, yeah, because that's just the kind of relationship we have with Canada. We just do those kinds of things.
And specifically Winnipeg.
Right. Yeah, right.
All those naval bases in landlocked Winnipeg, Manitoba.
I don't think these things are like the abominations that you guys think they are, but
no, they're not abominations. They're just not good.
No,
they're not. Like okay, look. It's just unflattering. All of the big blocks.
That it is. Like
you look. I mean, it looks like Ovechkin's overweight.
Yes, it does. It looks like he's got a big old beer gut.
And look, I know you bulk up when you put on hockey pads, but that's not like you bulk up a bit. But this is seriously some bad design work that is really accentuating all of the bad parts about how you look when you're wearing hockey pads.
Yeah, and I don't like the big W on the breezers. I don't care for that. And
it's a better logo than the primary one, though.
Yeah, and then of course you can't really see it on these, but on the back number, there's dotted lines that are based on the grid of Washington D.C.
Which that is really stupid.
Aren't those the grid lines that have the crazy people convinced that Masons run the country?
Yeah. Same thing. Right. Yeah.
Okay.
This is a little nod to them, they're the only ones that would look for something like this. So of course I don't know. I'm trying to make a joke there. It's just not happening.
If I were designing something like this, right, I'd really start feeding into the conspiracy theorists. I just start messing with them by hiding little triangles with eyes above them in the numbers.
That would be great.
And then, while we're on uniforms, Greg, did you hear the Padres news?
They're not going to be wearing brown. I know that.
Well, they may end up wearing brown, but the jersey change won't happen until
2020 or something.
2020.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They need time to do research.
Yeah. According to the Padres owner, Ron Fowler, in an interview with the Mighty 1090 in San Diego. We're going to show people examples of uniforms we think might make sense, and we have representatives of the brown. I'm not a fan of, as Tony Gwynn used to say, the baby poop brown and yellow uniforms. I think there's some brown that is very, very classy, and we'll see what the market tells us. Well, Mr. Fowler, have you actually attended any Padres games in the last 5 years?
Never.
You would know what the people want, and guess what? It's your brown and yellow that you don't necessarily care for. I will guarantee you people will respond to the brown and yellow Padres uniforms.
Yeah, especially more so than let's see, we've had knockoffs of the Rays. They're kind of like doing a Brewers
blue
thing
and
now.
white,
yeah.
Blue and khaki.
Right. I mean,
the blue and orange never really worked for them either. Despite having success.
Everything they've ever tried has failed except the brown.
I mean, what are they wearing now? They're wearing navy blue and gray. Good job, guys.
Yeah, because the yellow only lasted a season.
It was only for the All-Star game, and they had to decide. No, that was just hilarious. Never mind.
Yeah.
But
they need to go to the brown. I mean, I even like the Taco Bell jerseys, the ones they wore like in the mid '80s that had the orange accents on them. Those look good too.
Like, honestly, all they need to do is go to that brown and gold alternate from a couple years ago, where it was the current logo set just in brown and gold.
Yeah.
And guess what? It worked. It looked good.
Yeah, it looked really good.
I wanted some.
Yeah.
And the really just beyond worrying so much about the jerseys every 2 years, just can you like pay somebody more than a nickel to play for your team? Like make a baseball team would probably be your first priority there.
You've got that park, which is one of the best parks in baseball.
Oh, it's beautiful. I love going to Petco. I wish they were better.
You've got a good market there in San Diego, pretty good fan base. You shouldn't be terrible all the time. They should be more competitive than they are.
And they've got the city to themselves now.
Yeah. They absolutely do.
Literally no excuse.
Yeah, none. They're just cheap because when you've got that stadium and you've got the revenue streams they've got coming in from that place, there's no reason not to be. I'm not saying go out and be the Yankees or the Dodgers, but come on. Be more than a AAA team is all. Especially in San Diego, you're not playing in Milwaukee or I don't even know what another small market is anymore. But come on, give me a break.
I was going to say Kansas City, but they actually have a World Series recently. So
yeah, because they spent money where they needed to, and they've got a good farm. They're the model. I mean, there's quite a few teams that show the Twins. Look, okay, best case example. How about the Astros? They went out and said, we're going to rebuild. Look at them now. They're world champions. I mean, it's not impossible to do.
AL world champions at that. I mean, come on. Look at that.
Yeah. Well, that's
first team to ever win both pennants.
Right.
And then the last thing we talked about the leaks. We talked about the leaks last week, I think. But
the NBA?
The All-Star jerseys are confirmed to be the black monstrosities that they are.
So obviously both teams can't wear black. So
one team will wear white. One team will wear white versions.
I'm gonna be honest. I think these would be cool, but not for game jerseys. I think
they're fine fashion jerseys.
Right. They'd be something neat to wear. Like if you just wanted to have like a black jersey with a logo on it, that'd be fine. But not as game jerseys.
And you can see a little bit of the details of the pictures here, where there's, you have the little star details on the coming down from the armpits down the sides. But
here's a question: you've got Kia, I guess, who I'm assuming is an All-Star Game sponsor. How does this work with, like, say, the Cavs jersey there, who has Goodyear? So is Goodyear stepping aside for this game or what?
Yeah, Kia has the exclusive
to the All-Star Game. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, these aren't
the Air Jordan logo as opposed to the Nike logo.
Yeah, I mean, they're not. They'd be like a neat thing to wear, like Zach said, a fashion jersey. But as a game jersey, no, you can do better than this. I think, Mike, you brought it up last time we talked about this. Is that it looks like everybody's just run out of ideas, basically.
It does. Like they don't even have. Like I haven't checked it, but do they even have a long write-up of Nike speak that we can ridicule for these?
Not yet.
I don't think so.
They haven't been officially unveiled yet, so no. And then the other thing that's like, if you scroll down and you get to the Westbrook jersey, there's a lot of NBA logos that just aren't meant to be on the front of anything.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them is the Oklahoma City Thunder jersey.
Well, the Oklahoma City Thunder logo probably just shouldn't exist anyway, but here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. It's stupid.
It's just, it went from just like bad over the top design to lazy to just now it's just like, oh, fuck it. Black and white's fine. Go ahead.
I mean, look, maybe I'm biased, but I thought the All-Star uniforms in the NBA from a few years back when it was in Toronto, those looked really good. I saw them in person. They looked great on the rack.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like, I don't know.
It's just out of ideas, man. Well, like, this had to happen. This had to happen. It was inevitable because it just got so, not just in basketball, but everywhere. design just went off the charts so weird, it had no choice but to come back to simplicity, right?
Well, I mean, we talked about this a few months back at the start of college football season, where a lot of the new uniforms for the season that is now behind us were really classic.
Mm-hmm.
And they were really traditional, and it was exactly what we said, that you can only do shit like Oregon was doing for so long before that just becomes the norm, and then going back to basics becomes what's new.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's where we are, I think.
And then, of course, you still had idiots at Under Armour trying to claim that the 3 stripes on the UCLA jersey represented the 3 pillars of the school, and it's like, no, that's just how UCLA looks.
It's just the UCLA stripe, yeah. And then the last thing, this could probably be a larger discussion when it happens, but the DetroitHockey.net came across some trademark filings for websites and such regarding the Seattle NHL hockey team that could.
Oh, right.
Have you seen the list?
I've seen some of the names, like Kraken, which I don't even know what that means.
It's like
the Kraken, like bring out the Kraken.
See, here's the thing about the Kraken that doesn't make sense, because a Kraken is a creature from Norse mythology. All right. Vikings, basically. It comes from old Viking sea tales.
Oh, could we get some Viking runes on these?
Oh yeah, like someone call up Nike for the Timberwolves. But okay, how many Viking longboats do you think sailed off the Pacific coast of America?
Oh, I'm going to guess probably none.
There you go.
All of them.
All of them, right?
Like the only place where a Viking name, where like a name like the Kraken would make sense in North America, is hypothetically if somehow Halifax got a team, because that's in Nova Scotia. It's kind of close to where the Vikings explored North America. You could probably justify it there. But naming a team in Seattle the Kraken makes no sense at all.
Not to mention, it's just a bad name.
Yeah, I don't like that one personally. We also have Cougars, Eagles.
Eagles?
Eagles. There's no Eagles in hockey.
Yeah, but
Emeralds.
still. Emeralds I like, actually. I think that wouldn't be half bad. Do they already have the Eugene Emeralds minor league team, though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Evergreens.
Not
I like
bad. Evergreens is good. Yeah, it's not bad.
Firebirds.
No. That's a AA Sports made-up name.
Rainiers, like Mount Rainier.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. That one of their
there's a baseball team.
Yeah, one of the baseball teams is the Rainiers, right? Yeah.
The Renegades.
Sounds kind of generic.
Yeah, I like Rainiers or Evergreens would be good.
We have Seattle Sea Lions.
No.
And Seattle Seals.
I like Sea Lions.
Oh wait, Sea Lions. Sea Lions is actually an actual animal. That's right. Yeah. Okay, that's okay.
I like sea lions. They can't be the seals, though. The sharks are the seals. We've been over this.
Yeah. You can't take the seals. That's
don't take
another
the seals.
team's thing.
Don't take the seals and deny the best fans in hockey their heritage. Come
on. Yeah, I agree. I like it. Oh, go ahead.
Seattle Sockeyes.
That's a trout or a fish. A salmon. Salmon. It's a salmon.
Yeah. You want to name your team after something that's mostly known for either getting killed by bears or being barbecued.
And let me tell you, look up a picture of a sockeye salmon. That's the ugliest motherfucker you're ever going to see. I don't care what anybody says. You don't want that.
You're not gonna sell very many T-shirts with that on it.
No.
I know this is a leader in the clubhouse for many, but Seattle Totems.
No, I don't like that at all.
I don't like it either. It sounds weird.
Yeah,
it has history, and I know there's a lot of people that like it. It doesn't roll for me.
No, not at all.
It doesn't work for me. Like, I don't know. And all right, the Canucks probably shouldn't use the orca anyway, but so long as they are doing that, it kind of seems like the whole totem pole thing is their shtick anyway.
Right. Yeah, I thought about that too. But I mean, it's a shared heritage up there, you know.
I like go ahead, Mike.
I mean, my preferred one is sea lions, but honestly, I am legitimately disappointed that the Metropolitans aren't on it.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
The last one up there is Seattle whales, which kind of like seals. we had the Hartford Whalers,
right?
Which is the whale.
I mean, everybody. Yeah, that's when you hear whales. I mean, that's what you think. First thing you think of is the whale in Hartford. Sorry, it doesn't work.
And then, like similar to Mike's thing with the totems, is the Vancouver logo is an orca whale.
Yeah, well, aren't the Seahawks logo is like a totem thing too, kind of.
Yeah,
like based on a totem. Yeah. So come on,
the Seattle Metropolitans, the original Metropolitans, were the first American team to win the Stanley Cup. I think
you don't even have to call them the Mets. You just call them the Metros.
Yeah, right.
I bet then then people will be like, well, there's a Metropolitan Division and whatever. Change that name.
Well, that's a stupid name. Too. Yeah, that's stupid. You can fix that. I liked Evergreens. I like Metropolitans an awful lot. What were the other ones that we thought were pretty good? Rainiers I really like. That's a good one. But you got to kind of do the mountain thing, and that's more of a like Jazz, Rockies type deal.
My vote still for Sea Lions, especially when the Admiral came up with the mascot idea, if that's what they go with. Go really scientifically accurate with a sea lion. If it's like the Seattle Sea Lions, where like the guy in the mascot costume isn't allowed to stand up, he has to like drag his ass across the ice, holding up a big sign that says "Make some noise." I mean, he and Chase from Vegas could be best friends.
There you go.
They could hang out at the Cardboard Castle.
Well, yeah, there's some good names in there, but most of those are shit. It's just that simple.
And Firebirds? Like, does anyone associate Seattle with the Phoenix or the Legend of the Phoenix?
You know what I think of when I think of Firebirds? I think of like some douchebag from the 80s in acid wash jeans driving around a Trans Am. That's what I think of. Sorry, but that's what comes to mind for me. I think of the car, and then I think of the people that drove the car, and it's not a good association. Metropolitans is we got to find a way to make that one happen. I really like that one a lot.
Yeah. No, that one has so much history.
Yeah.
At the very least, they need to hang a banner for like the original Seattle Metro.
I think they should go with it, man. I mean, it's got the history. It's a great name, and we don't have to do this, fierce animal bullshit all the time. Go with something fun,
Well, but Mike, what happens if they try to claim the original Seattle Metro?
Then we will ridicule them just like we do Ottawa.
I was gonna say, like, we could just treat them like we do the Senators, and it would just be perfect if the Metropolitan banner is made out of like tarp. That would just be awesome. But of course, like, in order to fully pull it off, they'd need to have the banner made out of tarp, and they wouldn't use the original Metropolitans logo. They'd have to use whatever new logo they came up with. But it would also say 1917 Stanley Cup champions.
I'm gonna back up about 5 moves from here and go back and say that what we should be talking about is why are we adding another team? But since we're probably not going to be able to stop that in the first place, then we can talk about the names. But
because we've reached the point in Gary Bettman's league life cycle where we circle back to the early 90s where the business is about to fall apart unless we don't get a quick injection of some expansion team cash to kick the can down the road to the next lockout.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah, because, I mean, we are only, I think, maybe 2 moves away from where the 3 of us could put together some money and just put a team in, I don't know, Louisville, Kentucky.
Look, I mean, they sold the Islanders to that one schmuck who was living out of a model home. I'm sure the 3 of us could legitimately buy an NHL team.
All right, I just don't get it, but... So speaking of expansion and all that, where are we at with the Vegas and the trademark infringement thing? Have we heard any news on that?
No,
nothing new.
Okay,
nothing beyond the
they're looking at it
from last week. Yeah,
they're looking at it. So I guess I honestly don't expect this to actually be concluded during the season.
No,
like, it'll probably happen during the off season.
No, and for as interesting as it is, and all the possibilities that it presents, I think what's going to end up happening is someone's going to write someone a large check, and that'll be the end of it, basically.
I so want them to have to take the ice for at least one game wearing like plain black jerseys with Vegas NHL placeholder on the chest.
If the NHL had any common sense and just a little bit of a sense of humor, that's exactly what they would do. Tell me that everybody wouldn't love that. Look at that. Well, speaking of the Golden Knights, man, look at them here. They're in first place still?
First place in the whole damn league.
How is that happening?
It like, despite any explanation I've been given or tried to like give myself, I still don't know. Like, I don't get it. The only thing I can think of is that Marc-Andre Fleury still actually had a few years left, and he's not complete toast.
Yeah, but but he can't. One goalie during the regular season can't do this. Come on, can he?
But he wasn't even there for half the season, though. He was injured.
I don't know. I don't know. The only thing I can guess is that
their differential is plus 34. He's not responsible for that. I mean, he's responsible for the defensive side of it. But come on.
The only thing I can think of is that they just picked a really solid group of guys who, I hate to use some hockey cliches, but they just know. They just kind of play their game. And then there's also the conspiracy theory put forth by some people that it's basically a bunch of teams when they go into Vegas to play them, they're playing hungover because they got drunk or did something stupid the night before.
No, that's possible too. This is a serious question. Could it be that the front office in Vegas has done like a Billy Bean here and spotted some sort of market inefficiency that no one else knows about?
I don't think they did that because I don't think that's the case, though, because you look at the expansion terms Vegas got, they were incredibly generous. They basically got to pick whatever team they wanted.
Well, okay. It's just, I mean, because we've had expansion teams do okay before, but I've never seen this.
It's still a team made up of, at best, second liners. And at worst, third liners. I think that's really what it is. It's most teams, they kind of have a scale where you have your first line and it gradually goes down to your fourth line. You have a top D pairing that goes down to your last D pairing. Here, everybody's pretty much at the same level.
So you basically got like 4 second lines.
Remember how many times I would, bemoan what the Nashville Predators were, just a bunch of dudes that would climb together and play good team hockey.
Yeah.
That's what this is, just with maybe a little bit more talent. And you got some youth that's really kind of youth and skill that's kind of giving them a little extra edge.
I mean, it's just because I remember when they did the expansion draft, we were like, we even said that they didn't do the going to go for veterans to be competitive now. They were
everybody said that. It wasn't just us making a bad call. Everyone thought that they were going to be bad.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
It's inexplicable.
Well, hey, more power to them.
Yeah.
It'll be very interesting come playoff time.
Yeah.
The one thing that is the bad byproduct of this, Vegas fans
this is going to be spoiled.
They're getting a little uppity already. And it's like, you've been around for 5 months. Shut up. You don't know how this works. I cannot wait till the other shoe comes down and hits these assholes.
Watch them lose to like Calgary in 5 games. That would just be the best.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is, the thing that I found, the chant that they've gone with, it's not "Let's Go Knights," it's "Go Knights Go," which
I don't like this.
The Kings go Kings go. And so what this tells me is that these are a bunch of leftover Kings fans that became Kings. There was no Vegas team, and that's why they're assholes. I'm convinced of it.
I don't know. Like again, I'm telling you, I really want this to happen where they lose to some crap sack team like Calgary who gets in at the 8th seed. Like that would just be the best.
Yeah, that would be great. I would love that.
Well, we got a long way to go yet. We're a little over halfway there.
Also, apparently, if we're doing a midseason update on the top teams, Tampa Bay Lightning, previous best team in the league, have had a bit of a tumble. The scuttlebutt around the Tampa Bay area is that the team hasn't had a practice since the beginning of December.
Just because, or
that's just the way the schedule's worked out. Sometimes.
Okay.
Well, and also due to the bye week, they're doing a bye week thing now where teams get their bye weeks.
Yeah.
Then this was actually kind of funny. The Lightning decided that they were going to go to the Bahamas for a team vacation.
Yeah, a lot of the West Coast teams go to Cabo.
But But what was funny about it is that there was one Tampa Bay Lightning player who did not go to the Bahamas because, in a pure coincidence, the same weekend that this trip was planned, the Sarnia Sting were retiring Steve Stamkos' number. So Steven Stamkos had to spend his vacation in Sarnia, Ontario in the middle of January.
Oh, wow. That poor bastard.
Well, every of his teammates got to go to the Bahamas.
Wow, that sucks. I'd be like, do my jersey either at the beginning of the season or towards the very end. Let's not do this right now.
Or do it when he's like on a road trip.
Yeah. Wow.
I guess doing it during the bye week is when he's going to have time. But
yeah, but come on, man, you get send a brother to freaking Canada in January.
Well,
when you can go to the Bahamas?
Sarnia, Greg.
The London Knights did this for Corey Perry, and they did it like the Ducks had an extra off day before or after a Leaf game. And so he just went over from Toronto to London for the game and waved and saw his banner go and then went back to Toronto.
Yeah.
I think they did it for Patrick Kane too, but the less said about him, the better.
All right.
Patrick Kane does not have the best reputation in London, Ontario, let me tell you that.
I wouldn't imagine so.
So anyway, we got anything else, or should we wrap it up and prepare for Super Bowl?
No. Before we get to the Super, we got the Pro Bowl next week. Come on.
Oh, right, yeah, in Orlando. Yeah. I'm curious to see if anybody shows up for that. You got a really nice stadium down there.
I could do.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. But yeah, maybe next week we do.
I'm reporting here from the Pro Bowl.
We do some prop bets and stuff next week. That'll be fun. And of course, the Pro Bowl.
Well, we've got to have vigorous Pro Bowl coverage. That's
right, exactly.
Expect from us.
Yeah, that's what people come here for.
Our Pro Bowl coverage and our NBA coverage, exactly.
Wall-to-wall Pro Bowl coverage.
All right, so we're going to call it a night, folks. You can follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports, subscribe via iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, and YouTube, and find us on Facebook. We'll see you next week.
Later.
Adios.